So no empire in history suffered more of a prolonged, embarrassing, slow death by 1,000 cuts, quite like that of Byzantium. I should say so far, due to current events. Considered the successor of the Roman Empire with its capital in Constantinople, that stood as the imperial capital for centuries. Founded by Constantine the Great, it stood as a shining beacon on the hill until it suddenly didn't. Through politics, mismanagement, corruption, and just plain old being outmaneuvered, over time the power and prestige of Byzantium waned, which tends to happen after you have an Armenian emperor or two. You can't let us be in charge. It attempted to prop itself up as the bastion of Christianity, directing its mostly temporary allies to defend it against the encroaching power of the Islamic world, only for this to blow up in its face in the Fourth Crusade, and the Byzantines found their own capital city being sacked by their own Christian allies, which was, hilariously, the only successful attack on the city up until that point, and mostly based around boat debt. We did an episode on that. Go listen to it. But today we're going to talk about a different successful attack on Constantinople. Arguably the successful attack on Constantinople. We're talking about the fall of the city to the armies of the Ottoman Empire in 1453. But first, the fall of context. Tom, you hate it, and I'm going to continue.
I fucking hate it, and I can't wait for my favorite thing, because I do know a decent amount about the fall of Constantinople, and my favorite thing is that it happened on my birthday.
Congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Mashallah, brother. Someday we will defeat the Greeks for good.
That is my birthday wish this year.
Defeat the Greeks for good.
Defeating the Greeks?
No, it's to defeat the Italians, aka my landlord.
The Saracen landlord. As we've established, all enemies are Saracen when you're a crusader, even if they're just like dudes in the Baltics.
Everyone goes on about the Italian-American diaspora, but no, people really need to examine the English-Italian diaspora, because they are even funnier. Like, I know there's a joke about, imagine having a landlord with anxiety. That is just my landlord.
Yeah, I mean, I as I've said before, without getting too far down a rabbit hole, living in Europe and encountering Italians from Italy has made me think that our stereotypes about Italians from back in America aren't mean enough. That frankly, we should be a lot meaner, because shouts out to nice Italians, and there are plenty of nice Italians, but there's also some of them who are just you're insane. You're really, really this isn't Facebook cooked your brain. This is millennia of passing down the most psychotic opinions to each other. I'm sorry, but you need to live in the world. All right. That's not a good idea.
What was left behind after the imperial gunshot to the foot that was the Fourth Crusade was something called the Latin Empire. The Latin Empire was the gutted, shambling corpse of Byzantium. Most of its lands were taken away and given to various crusader states, though most of this went to Venice. And then the same crusaders who wrecked the place picked a new governor in 1204, who of course would now be Catholic rather than Orthodox. Though in reality, the Doge of Venice pretty much handpicked the emperor, because the crusaders in charge all owed Venice a fuckload of debt, and he was calling it in. We do love a payday loan emperor. I think that's just Ohio now.
Getting your pockets ran by a Venetian Doge because you took out a payday loan to buy a boat.
Mandates of heaven cashed here.
Yep. It's just like Quicken Loans picks the governor, but now he is a castle. This left behind dozens of Byzantine successor states who refused to acknowledge a new Latin emperor, considered the whole project illegitimate, and promptly started attacking them. Namely the empires of Trebizond and Nicaea, both of whom the Latin Empire claimed as their own, and vice versa. Interestingly, the creation of this clusterfuck meant at this point in time, there is 5 different empires all claiming to be the successor of Rome. Despite all of this, in the early years, the old empire, but also new empire, did manage some successes, trying to claim back territory and fight off its main European enemy at the time, who were, of course, the Bulgarians. However, within a few years, one war ballooned into 2, then 3, then into an all-around time-ending war across most of the borders against virtually every breakaway state simultaneously, all while things inside the imperial court began to go, Byzantine. The throne begins to pass from one guy to another rapidly. At least one emperor is captured and executed by the Empire of Ypres. leaving the throne to his wife because his son was in France and just didn't want to come back. Then power shifted to a regent who died and was replaced twice before the kid finally came back to rule, only for him to die a few years later. And this all happened within like 10 years. Great for stability. As you can imagine, things looked quite bad for the empire. And despite creating it out of mostly thin air, the Europeans, but namely Venice, just kind of watched and did nothing as the Latin emperors did a fall of the empire speed run. Okay, that's kind of unfair. Venice was still stripping them bare and nickel and diming them, or coining them, whatever. Bills went unpaid, armies went unmanned, and the infrastructure that stood for generations crumbled. As Dr. Patrick Wyman has often said, the true fall of an empire comes when, when your touchstone of the empire is if the bridge down the road falls down, someone from the state comes and fixes it, but then after a while, nobody comes and fixes the bridge anymore. That's what's happening. Mm-hmm. Then a short time later, the Latin Empire falls as the Nicenians march up to the city, effectively found an unlocked back door, and reconquer the whole thing and restore Byzantium with less than 1,000 soldiers in 1261. It turned out Byzantium 2.0 was going to be even worse. And for some reason, Byzantium 2.0 to me kind of sounds like a really shitty fitness app that YouTube would have advertisements for.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was going to make a different comparison as this is almost analogous to the continuity of members of the band The Fall.
Or Black Flag, for that matter.
Yeah. Greg Ginn surrounded by teenagers retaking Byzantium.
Have you ever seen a band do the Ship of Theseus in front of your own eyes on Facebook?
I mean, Marky Smith famously said that The Fall is me and whatever fucking cunt I can want to be on stage with or something like that. He didn't care. It's no, I am the band. Everybody
put one on the scoreboard for me. I made a band reference.
There you go,
Joe. Good job. But yeah, I agree with you. The Band of Theseus. It's anytime there's competing successors, there's a sort of inheritance struggle when it's like polities and, sovereign states and statelets, it gets really complicated in history, but it's also always funny.
Yeah, we just need more emperors.
Yeah, you can't not laugh at it. It kind of makes the concept of there being one supreme emperor kind of a joke in the first place, because it's well, where did that authority actually get vested from? And it's you just spontaneously generated a guy in Avignon. It's no, fuck you. I talk to God. You know what I mean?
It's spawn point. I come from there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like character creator in The Sims.
Because if you have 2 emperors and you just have a civil war, but if you have 5, then you're in emperor clown show territory. That's my personal favorite.
Imperial polycrisis. Everyone's claiming to be emperor.
And they're all dating.
Yeah, the polycule polycrisis is an interesting concept, isn't it?
The imperial polycule.
That's when everyone argues over who has to do the dishes.
Exactly.
I hate to be a member of the imperial polycule, but instead of being all partners, we're all emperors. Byzantium too inherited all of the wars of the Latin Empire, plus a few more. Economically, things looked a little better, until the Black Death rolled into town in 1346, killing, at minimum, half of the city. The city, at least under the Byzantines, would never recover. It's important to remember here that Constantinople is fucking huge. All enclosed within the Theodosian walls, a 3-layered defense system that included all of the things that come with that term, towers, gates, whatever. The only break from this was the area facing the sea, which had a seawall, but in general, the sea was thought to be a protective barrier. But the walled space at that time fit the whole city, which at its peak and was built for around 1 million people at the time of the Fourth Crusade. So while all the sacking and with all of its problems, and then of course the Black Death, this saps the population from the city, though it, again, still built for 1 million people, but those 1 million people weren't there anymore. It is Roman Detroit. So large swaths of the city are just empty. By 1453, it's thought that the population could have dropped to as low as 40,000.
Looking at a guy's horse and saying, what size shoes does he wear? Before you pull out your sword.
It's like, yeah, all of the volunteer bucket brigades aren't able to keep up with Hades Night. Kids running around burning down old abandoned buildings in Byzantium.
That means you're all in this theory that you are giving us there is a Byzantine crow.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there's a Byzantine D12. It's like, I'm
Also,
sure.
yes, technically, yeah, it's B12.
And we still don't talk about what Bazaar did.
No, we don't.